Welcome to BSCIT Solve Question Paper Series, and in this video we'll try to go and solve one of the questions from C# 2010 question paper, which is of 5 marks. In C#, how can we prevent a class from being further subclassed and a method from being overridden? So let me just try to answer this question more practically. Now, we all know that in object-oriented programming we have something called as the inheritance relationship or the parent-child relationship. Okay, in other words, for example, you can have a class called as human, and you can then have a class called as male who can inherit from human class and create his own identity, right? Or probably you can go further and you can also create a class called as female who can again inherit from human, right? So human is a parent class, and then you have male and female as child classes who inherit from the human class. And further, the human can have some method called as behave must be. Okay, probably you can create this behave function or this behave method, I'll say rather, as a virtual, because probably you would like to go and override it, right? Now this behave method probably can be overridden in this male your male class here, saying that okay, I want to go and override this behavior, and over here I will go and put behaviors which is like a male, right? Behavior of male. Okay, and further even in the female class I can go and override this behave method here, and I can put here behavior which is female kind of behavior, right? So I can say okay, this is a female behavior. So this kind of relationship is called as a parent-child relationship, or you can also term it as a inheritance relationship. Okay, now let's watch this inheritance hierarchy which we have just created. So we have human, right? And this human is further inherited to either create a male class or a female class. Now what we also want is that people cannot go further and inherit from male class, right? So we can think about that male and female are the last leg of the inheritance. In other words, I don't want someone to do something like this. I don't want someone to go and say, okay, let me go and create one more class here called as public class, some other human who probably goes and inherits a male class. I don't want to do that. So male and female are the last leg of inheritance, and I want to avoid this inheritance any further. And that can be achieved by using the sealed keyword. In other words, if I go and put public sealed class, right, what will happen now is this female class I cannot inherit any more further. In other words, for example, if I try to do something like this, public class some human, right, some human, and if I try to now go and inherit from the female class, you can see that I don't see that female class over here. And if I even try to do this, let's say if I try to do this like this, okay, something like this, and if I try to go and compile this, it will give me an error. So if I try to do this now, I've just went ahead and I've just built the program, and you can see that you can clearly see the error what is shown by Visual Studio here. It is saying that some human cannot be derived from a sealed type class, right? So in other words, how do you go and further stop the inheritance? That is by using the sealed class. So if you go back to the question, right, what was asked in this question paper here, it is saying that how can we prevent the class from being further subclassed? Subclassed means child class, okay, and that can be done by using the sealed keyword. Now the same question also had a second part to it. So the first part is how can we prevent a class from being further subclassed by using the sealed keyword. Now there is a second part to the same question, and also how can we avoid this method to be further overridden, and that is again by using the sealed keyword. In other words, what it is saying is that okay, one is that you have stopped this inheritance of the female class, but how do I also ensure that this method, behave method, is not further overridden, because this is the last leg of my inheritance, right? So again, for that what you can do is you can again go and put the sealed keyword over here. So again, if I try to go and say public override, you can see that I don't see that behave method here. But even if I try to go and force it, even if I try to go and still write the code here, and if I compile my program here, if I try to do a build here, one is, you can see this error over here of the sealed class. Let's say, temporary, I'll go and remove this sealed keyword from here, and if I try to go and build it, you can see that he is clearly giving me an error here. Very quickly, he's clearly giving us an error here saying that you cannot override this member. Why? Because it's a sealed member, or it's a sealed method. Okay, so let's go back to our C# question paper over here, and let me just go and answer this question. So this question is of 5 marks. In C#, how can we prevent a class from being further subclassed? When I say subclass, means inheritance. Okay, from being further subclassed, and a method from being further overridden. If you want to prevent a class from being further subclassed, you have to use something called as a sealed keyword, and and if you want to ensure that a method is not being further overridden, you have to use again the sealed keyword. So the answer to this question is to use a sealed keyword. So when you're trying to answer this question, what you can do is that you can go and write this small sample code, which I've showed here, and you can put the proper sealed keyword and write down the answer. So I hope that you have enjoyed this answer of this question, and we'll meet again in question number 2 of C# 2010 solved question paper series. Thank you so much.